Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the Sass and the Beard, and we are live with River Valley Now. We just want to say, first of all, we're so excited to be starting this new project with River Valley Now, where we get to reach more people in our community. We get to discuss all the things that we've talked about and really kind of reach more people. And for those of you who are new to the Sass and the Beard, my name is Nathan George. I'm the Beard. And this is Kristen Foster. She's obviously the Sass, if you couldn't tell. And we have known each other for quite a long time. That's kind of how this started. And we're going to give you just a quick synopsis of how we started for those of you if this is your first time watching us. I ran for state office a couple of years ago, and Kristen was my campaign manager. And we have always talked about like local politics and statewide politics, and it's a big passion of ours. And we worked a lot together on the campaign, and it was such a great experience. Like, we just wanted to keep talking about stuff, and we would just talk about it like on our own. And then one day we came up with this idea to talk about it and talk about it with other people. And now that everybody's connected in every way possible, right? That's kind of how it happened. So if you are watching, we've been doing this since June, I think. Yeah. And now we are here. And Kristen, is there any more you want to add about like this whole process and how?
Yeah, I think this was just both of us. I mean, have always cared about like national politics, but especially over the last like 5 years, really got more focused on what's happening here locally, because it's so much easier to have an impact on that.
Yes.
And so for me, it's really about. It became very important for us to be in local politics and to talk about things that there's not like a 24-hour news channel that's going to cover what's happening in Russellville, and so being able to provide that for people, it was really important. And it's so easy. We just had a phone set up to like look at our faces, and now we're here, and it looks all like legit. And
it was funny. We were talking earlier how like we were concerned because like all we've been used to doing is looking at a cell phone in front of us like a foot and a half, and now we've got all this swanky setup, and it's really cool to be able to just like do something in a more professional way, I guess. But we're still going to be as sassy and as bearded as we were with just the phone and us. So don't be afraid. I'm watching your comments and your questions. So please, engage with us.
I made Nathan be in charge of questions because his beard hides his double chin.
It's the man makeup.
And it does. I don't have that going, and the double chins are an issue. So Nathan's in charge of questions now.
Yes.
But tonight we are talking all about this major joint city and county meeting that is coming up. Do you want to give a rundown on that?
There is a big deal, as we do from time to time, really all the time in this day and age in our city and county. We're talking about casino.
Is there anything else going on?
Again, we say this all the time. It's all encompassing because it's really the biggest thing going right now, and it's this huge, topic that everybody wants to know about, and everybody has speculation and concern. But what's going on tomorrow night? And Maddie, if you would, please, you could put up the graphic about the date for the meeting. Tomorrow night, the city and the county are meeting at 5:30 p.m. at Tech Campus in the Rothwell building.
Yes.
And this meeting is for them. This is the meeting we've been asking for.
Yes.
For months and months and months. And they are going to get together and they are going to publicly discuss what is going on with the revenue from the casino.
Yes.
In the future,
And I think what we're going to see is them touch on a couple of different things here. And I'm not sure what the format of this is going to look like. It's been kind of short on details coming up to this, but I expect to see them talking about the zoning, the annexation issue, and the revenue bonds. Those have all been sort of part of what we expect to see in a like joint agreement between the city and county. And a lot of that's really just about the money, the casino money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's very much what it's about.
Right.
It's there because there's been all this speculation. The judge and the mayor had a handshake deal, or these council members talked with these quorum court members, and there's all of this speculation, and this is the meeting where all of this is going to be decided together, and we can know, if it turns out that if they do actually make a decision, we will all know this is the plan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're going to get that tomorrow night.
You don't think so?
I don't know,
Okay.
but I think we're going to start to see the building blocks of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's going to be some things that have to be approved through the city and some things that have to go through the county.
Right.
Which we've already seen that start.
Yes.
Last night, the county had a meeting, the quorum court meeting. Typically would have been this Thursday, but they changed it because of this joint meeting. And so had that last night, and they issued a ordinance that will start the process to put bonding on the ballot in March. And so when you go to the ballot for the March primaries, which is going to be a big vote for people because it'll be the presidential primary.
Right. So there'll be a ton of people showing up.
Yes. And so you're going to have bonding on the ballot at that time. And from what we understand, now we haven't been able to get a hold of the ordinance yet. I tried to get a hold of it today, but I'm to lay eyes on it, but haven't been able to yet. But we chatted with a quorum court member to find out what this is really about. And so the bond, it looks like, is going to be for 5 different projects.
Yes.
And the projects, from what we understand, are a justice complex, which is going to include a new jail.
Yeah.
And I know there's some issues with our jail. I mean, it's old, it's run down. There's a library project to do a new county library.
Yeah, we don't know all the specific details of each of these things, so we don't know if it's a brand new library or if they're going to spend money on the current one. We're assuming and hoping that it's a new library. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they have a wellness center that is going to be, he said, would be near the senior activity center, and would be something that is really geared towards seniors to go exercise and do things like that. Additionally, there was a fire station that would be out by wherever the casino property is, whether that's Russellville or Dover. That's still not been decided. And then an event center at the Pope County Fairgrounds. And that would be, we didn't get a lot of details, honestly. They didn't have a lot of details.
It's not a rodeo center. It's an event center. Yeah, we've had this discussion
If y'all
before.
don't know and listen, my hatred is not for rodeos. It's for being responsible at spending, about being responsible in our money. And so what we look at here is about, just the rough numbers, we're about an $80 million package if all 5 of those were to pass. And people be able to vote on each individual one.
That's where I was kind of confused, because first we have a question about the meeting tomorrow night.
Sure. Yeah.
Mike asks if it will be live stream and will the audio work.
Well, I don't know the answer to that. Yeah. We're here at River Valley Now, so we'll ask them what their plans are. But we didn't get that information.
Yes, and I'm sure if River Valley Now specifically plans to live stream it, they will let everyone know.
Yes, I'm sure.
But we are not planning on live streaming.
I'm planning to attend, but I won't live stream.
Yeah. So can we talk about, because bonding is one of those boring economic tools that municipalities, city governments, county governments have to acquire funds. And we've talked about how it's very similar to getting a loan from a bank for a mortgage.
Yes.
So you have this bonding company that is the bank, and they give out huge sums of money in exchange for future revenue. So we talked about revenue bonds. This specific bond will be a revenue bond that is waiting for the money from the casino revenue.
Right. And one of the things, so I get that people do messaging, that's kind of the thing.
Right,
it's politics, it's how we do things. But one of the messaging points I've been hearing on this is only 4 counties get this.
Yeah.
Well, only 4 counties have casinos.
Right, but everybody has access to a revenue bond.
Right. If they make more casinos, then more counties would have access. You know what I mean?
Or if they were putting if they're gonna put a professional hockey team in Little Rock, to build that stadium, they can issue a revenue bond. It's not specific to, revenue bonds are not specific to the casino.
Right.
It's just these, now they added the casino to the revenue bond,
Well, so typically, a revenue bond, you look at where they they issue a bond to say build a hockey stadium.
Yeah.
And then the revenue from that project is what pays back the bond, not from a separate project.
Gotcha.
And so the Act 703 that was passed by the legislature this in 2019, earlier this year in the session, because I don't know what year it is apparently. Early, I'm off into 2020 already. Earlier this year in session, they passed this Act 703, and it specifically made it where the casino revenue could be used for future payment.
Right.
The thing with this, though, the thing that concerns me in this, I mean, I think we probably do need a new justice complex.
Yes.
Like, there are things in there that are important that we need. And I agree with that. The concern for me is that, like, we're putting together a bond and we don't even know what a casino is going to...
Right. We don't know how it's going to perform. We don't know if our Polk County casino is going to perform like the... projected revenues that all of the casinos in all of the counties have used from whatever study. So is it $5 million? Is it going to be $4 million? Like, it's all projection. So are we basing these decisions on projected revenue? And a lot of times governments and businesses, like they make decisions based on those things.
Right.
But maybe we get the projected revenue for 5 to 10 years. Well, what do we do the next 10? You know, when we're getting less money.
The thing for me is, like, when you're looking at $80 million and you're expecting $5 million a year in revenue, what I've been told is that the bond would likely be for 80% of the revenue. Yeah. So you're looking at $4 million a year towards $80 million. So 20 years. Like, I mean, before we even have a casino break ground, before there's a door open, before anybody's played a slot machine, we're going to spend 20 years of revenue. Like, I don't know. Like, that really freaks me out, man. Yeah. And I don't know what other counties have actually done this yet. Right. So we're going to just, like, test it out.
Yeah,
like,
we're the litmus test. Like, we are we're going to create the standard.
Yeah.
You know, there's a tremendous amount of economic development that could happen because of this project. And we don't know how much money is going to come into the coffers, but we do know there will be some. And do we want to start out owing a ton of money when we don't know how much money we're going to make? And do we want to make a promise based upon what we might make, you know, and whether or not, like, you know, we could just go back and say, well, we need more time, you know, because we've been told you can go back and say, well, we need more time. Well, and then where's that additional money going to go that comes from the 80%? So, like, there's 100% of that tax revenue that we're talking about from the casinos, and 80% of it's going to go to the bond. Where's the other 20% going to go?
Okay, so that's kind of the other issue that's on the agenda probably for tomorrow night. From what I understand, the expectation is that at a certain point in this process, the city would be able to annex the casino property through the petition process, where it wouldn't have to go to a vote. The property, the owner of the property, which would be the casino owner, would do a voluntary petition to say, yes, we want to live in this, be in the city limits, live in the city limits, be in the city limits. And they, and so at that point, then the revenue changes. Whatever is not bonded would change, and 70% of whatever's left would go to the city, and 30% would go to the county.
Right.
And so we're looking at about $1 million, likely, if the projections are right, we'd be looking at about $1 million a year left over for the city and county to split.
Gotcha. Which is a lot of money.
It is. It's a lot of money. Yeah. So, I mean, $700,000 to the city. Now, from what I've seen, the projected cost to the city for police and fire is about $1.2 million. Yeah. So there's still kind of...
Right. So the city's in the hole for $500,000.
Right. I mean, there's going to be some other revenue, but we're still kind of putting this... Their city's still looking at an issue where they're... I mean, breaking even, probably at best case.
Maybe we might have to, you know, venture out into the Wet County issue to get that other $500,000.
There's a whole lot of other issues before we can get into that. You can't even start talking about a Wet County. You can get people all worked up, and there's nowhere to go with it. Trust me.
Maybe we could use the revenue streams from the casino to provide.
No. He needs to stop that dirty talk because it will not happen.
Okay, for those of you who this is your first time watching us, we take a lot of rabbit trails and we talk about a lot of stuff that you probably don't want your kids to listen to. So, because Kristen will say a bad word every once in a while. I don't at all. I speak clean.
He is the wholesome, better, kinder part of this showdown. But the rabbit trail we were just on with the Wet County. The reason we cannot get a Wet County is because a long time ago they passed a constitutional amendment that makes the petition requirements so high that is just not realistic.
Like it's easier to pass a constitutional amendment than it is to make a dry county wet.
It is for real.
Mm-hmm. So if you have questions, please, we want to answer them. We want to give out the information that we have to you. We may have given it out before at another video, and this may be your first time. So please feel free to ask anything. We don't mind. We're here for as long until Maddie kicks us out. We're here. Yeah. So we want to talk to you about the upcoming meeting between the city and the county. What are your thoughts on where the money should go? Do you want a bond issue? Do you want annexation? There are other items that were discussed in the bond issue. There was, what was the last one? We did 4 out of the 5.
Did I not do the 5th one? I'm sorry. The 5th one was the event center at the fairgrounds.
Okay, the event center. Sorry.
And so, so there's these 5 projects. And, they all sound like great stuff. Like, I'm not really down on the projects. Mm-hmm. I'm really just concerned about this is so, we were joking with this, like a couple of liberals talking about being
fiscal
responsible and conservative with the finances. But really, like, to me, that's the concern is, I wouldn't do my family's finances that way. Yeah. And so it makes me nervous to see our county do it.
When you're talking about our local governments, like there are things that they provide that are so vital to our everyday. And some of those things are have-tos, and some of those things are wants. Mm-hmm. We can agree that the justice complex is a necessity. Mm-hmm. If we're having trouble with having clean, safe, and better space for the law enforcement and the people that are in the jail, mm-hmm. like those
keeping people. People are incarcerated, and we want to make sure that things are safe, that people aren't getting hurt, that there's not drugs coming into. And that does need upgrades.
They're able to follow the right procedures and keep up with them. So, like, if we can assess that is a need. Well, first of all, we just got like $27 million, or will whenever we
haven't yet.
And that's the free and clear. Like, there's no bond. Like, that's a check that we can take to the bank.
Yeah.
What are we going to do with that money? We're just going to sit on it?
I think,
and then bond this $80 million when a third or more of it is right there. Sorry, my math, did that work out right? It's about a third. Yeah,
I'm too tired for math. I don't really understand what the logic is behind that. I haven't had a chance to really ask anybody directly, and so I'm not sure what their thoughts are. Yeah. But they talked about how using this bond issue would be at no cost to taxpayers.
Yes.
Which is true. You don't have to increase taxes to pay for that. It's very true. But you are committed.
How many times has a politician said that,
But the thing is like last night they passed a millage increase. And so we're already in a position that we're needing to raise taxes to cover the expenses. And that's not just Polk County. That's every county in the state.
Yeah, and a lot of the municipalities, the cities there within.
Yeah.
And everybody's looking for new revenue. Right. Everybody's looking. The governor was looking for new revenue when this happened. Mm-hmm. The counties and cities were looking for new revenue because sales tax revenue is dropping, franchise fees. This is what we repeat over and over. Like when I was a city council member, you could watch by year when Netflix started, or when people got off cable, or when people got off.
When we got the Walmart Supercenter, you could see when that happened in our finances.
And then Amazon, you can steadily watch the decrease in sales tax revenue and all these other revenue streams, and you can watch the expenses go up because everything's gotten more expensive. Yeah. Police officers and firefighters, they need more money to live because it costs more to live. So when you talk about that and how we could be prepared for the future, why don't we wait and get the money? And when the money comes, then we decide what to do with it. Yeah. Instead of just 877 cash now and let's get it,
Yeah. It's so true. I know. I feel like when I was like just out of high school and I like rolled into Maurice's and they'd be like, girl, you want credit card? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how I feel like we're doing. But it's.
Yeah, mine was a TV. Like,
yeah.
I was like, wait, I can get a 60-inch TV?
And you don't
and
have
I
to
only
pay
have to
right
pay
now.
like $30 a month? Yes, sign me up
that's
for
not
that.
real money, right?
Yeah.
Until you have to start paying it.
Yeah. So I ended up paying $3,500 for a TV that I threw away 10 years later because it was just like it
totally
was a
not
potted
worth it.
plant, you know. So
funny. I mean, I think part of this, it just seems like that it's, because of all the drama that's going on, we like lost focus on the purpose here. And it started to be about like who's going to get to control the money. And I understand that. Like, both sides, there's history here of
there's a lot of he said, she said, there's a lot of frustration. Well, it's mostly it's he said because there's not a lot of women.
Oh yeah, it's almost entirely he said, he said.
So like there's all of this,
but there are women running.
They're good. We need more women.
Super excited about
that. So there's a lot of frustration between the two parties because of hurt feelings, because of threats, because of control, and you and I have petitioned the governments for this meeting to come together to discuss, to talk, to have it out, in a public setting, so that the people that elected you can watch and know what's going on, and that way there's less drama, hopefully, and decisions can get made.
Yeah.
That's why we're allowed to have TV cameras in our state and federal government meetings, so that if you actually did care to watch, like you could see what they're doing, and petition them to change. Now, whether they will, like it's more likely to change at the local level.
It is
because you see them at Walmart and at the grocery store and at wherever when you're getting your
Well, I mean, it's people it's people you live here with. You see somebody and they're like, my grandma can't pay her property taxes or whatever. I mean, things like that matter. And so, I mean, it is easier to influence it on the local level. And I think that people need to be, that's part of why we want to talk about this, is it's not to be like everybody should agree with us or do things the way we think. I mean, we think we're pretty smart.
I mean, I think we are.
I think we're pretty smart. But everybody should decide for themselves. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But the thing is that we only be paying attention.
Yeah.
And because when we're not paying attention, that's how we got in this situation to begin with.
And what if, so if we're talking about, let's talk about the ballot in March, at the primary. So all of the bond issue, the bond issue, annexation issue, both of those are incumbent upon, I mean, not fully maybe the annexation issue,
separate,
but the bond issue especially are incumbent upon voters making a decision.
Yep.
And so if you haven't been following this, if you haven't been paying attention, and in March you're going to vote and you see this thing on the ballot that says, look, you can get a new jail, you can get a new library, like who wouldn't want to do all of those things?
And the thing is, you're making a commitment that, like, my daughter is 15, and by the time this is paid off, if nothing else is added, she'll be my age. She'll be almost 40 years old by the time this is paid off.
Yes.
Like, did I say how old I am? Like,
I don't
think I said that.
I don't think you said specifically.
Maddie
but if you can do math really well, you can figure out how old Chris is.
But seriously, like, I mean, it's just a really big commitment, and I just want people to be like, okay, informed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not just like, this is free money. I'm glad, and I do think that there are projects in here that are worthwhile, but we cannot, like, I cannot be like, let's just like spend everything before we get anything.
And also, there's a butt ton of upfront money.
Yeah.
That, like, what are we doing with that?
Yes.
Is there, because the whole reason to cut the city out of the deal in the first place was because you had a list of things that you wanted to get done with this upfront money.
Right.
And you didn't want to give the city of Russellville a year's worth of their budget. So like what are we going to do with that $27 million that the day the casino opens up, within 30 days of that, is all coming to us, to the county, to the different cities within the county, to different groups within the county. A total of $38 million.
Yeah.
And $27 million of that goes directly to
the county.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that's important to be aware of in this is that, the county and city governments and other cities in the county, they all operate separately from each other. They don't like pay each other's bills. Like, we're not like, just like handing over cash to each other.
Yeah, it's not our
somebody
job
gets
to
in
be responsible for.
Like, so if you know, I don't know, say, and I'm just making something up, but say like the city of Dover couldn't afford to repair their roads or something. Like the county can't just be like, oh, we'll take care of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
because they're within their own municipal government.
Like it's a whole thing. Yeah. And so, you know, I want to make sure that the citizens who live here are getting a fair deal.
Yes.
That we're not going to end up, because, you know, if you live in the city of Russellville and we don't get enough money to cover this police and fire,
right, then
the option is you either take it from somewhere else.
Yes.
Or
you raise the tax.
Or you raise taxes. And so we don't want that. I mean, nobody wants that. Like, and you know, again, like I think that there are good projects in here. Like, man, I want a new library. I love the library.
Yes.
I wouldn't take out a loan like to
hit
build
that
a
like
library.
button if you would like a new library.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like
I love that
we
idea.
can all agree that that these are good things.
Yeah.
That they're going to get together and they're going to have a meeting, the city and county, and they're going to discuss good services for the community. Those are all great things.
Yeah.
and
I'm not
we
down
are
on
not.
any of that.
If you're for those, we are too. You know.
But I'm for doing it right. Like
Yes.
I want to be. It freaks me out, the idea of committing this much money before we really have any idea
how much
the revenue will be. Like we have no idea. You know what I mean? Because heck, it could be way more,
right.
And then I might be like, hell yeah, let's
build
all of this. Like
yeah.
It's only gonna take 5 years to pay it off. I'm
right.
all in.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It just depends on what it is.
Yeah, like we're not opposed to the bond.
Yeah.
In a sense of like we get all the things quicker.
Right.
But we might be opposed to it in that it's not responsible.
Well, my thing is like,
maybe.
Okay,
like we don't know.
We make this decision now, but then in 15 years, what if we need something else?
Right.
So then what happens?
And then the revenue stream is lessened because
we've already committed it. Like it's still gone.
But like there's less money coming into casinos because the shiny new is worn off
there's
of
always
it,
a dip. Like a rise and a dip. But but you know, I'm like, and the answer we got to that was kind of just like, well, we could take out another loan.
Or they could extend the period of time to pay it out.
Oh, if it's less. But if something else comes up that's a new project.
They spawn something else.
They would have to just do another bond. And, I mean, it just kind of freaks me out a little bit. Like, it seems like a really big commitment before we've got enough information.
Robbing Peter to pay Paul. Yeah. That's a euphemism that people use about moving money around.
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
I got that.
I was just making sure that people knew.
Okay.
It's something my dad says, and my dad says a lot of things.
He does have a lot of sayings.
Yeah.
So, anyways, well, I think that's about all I've got. Is there any other? Oh, you know what? We didn't talk about zoning. The zoning issue.
Yes.
So what I saw is that the city is looking at, because this is kind of in their territorial jurisdiction, I guess, and there was a thing where the county like went ahead and issued, and then the city issued like a permit, and the city was thinking about maybe suing to say that no, you can't do that. This is our turf.
And then they put all that on hold because they wanted to have a meeting.
And then everybody chilled out for a minute and went, wait, what are we doing?
Because then it was like, well, the casino's going to be in Dover.
Yeah.
And like everybody chilled out.
But so the zoning now is looking like the city and the county will agree and have kind of a cooperational committee or something, and they're looking at like a C5, which would be and you know more about zoning than I do. So this may be, I believe this would be a new zoning.
It's a new zoning
that
code,
would be for the casino
only specifically.
Okay.
Because now I wasn't a city council member for a long period of time, but we didn't. I'm not familiar with C5, so I'm assuming that
I think it's a new one.
Yeah.
I think that's what I saw it said. I need to double check that. But so there's a lot happening, and it's important.
Well, it's nice to see them working together.
It's so nice.
Like we're happy.
I mean, that's what people needed here.
So if you came for all the drama, so the episode that we titled this episode Casino Wars Episode 9 because I'm
Nathan's
a huge
into
Star Wars fan, like nerd out about Star Wars. And Star Wars Episode 9 is in like 9 days.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But it's like the end of Star Wars. So maybe this meeting could be the end
of the casino
casino drama, the casino wars.
You think that's how it's
I'm
gonna go?
hoping. Like, can I not hope and have faith that these people that were elected would work together in the common interests
I think that is
of their constituents?
Hopeful.
What do you guys think? Do you think
of
that we can
hysteria.
maybe hope in our elected officials to do good in our favor?
I said I was going to quit talking about how much I don't trust politicians and making jokes about that because my daughter made a joke at school and I felt really bad. I said I wasn't going to make those jokes anymore. You're making it really hard, man. You're over there talking about how.
Hey, I'm here to test you. That's
Don't do it. I don't think we're going to see this be the end of the drama. I don't think that's what's about to happen here. I mean, listen, if you'd asked me about this meeting 2 weeks ago, I'd be like, I think somebody needs to bring bail money because something's about to go down.
Can we put up a mat and some ropes and like have a WCW match or something?
Yeah. I don't know anything about that either. But I do think that things have gotten to a little bit better place, and I hope we're starting to see that work out. And and maybe just everybody needs some time to come back together.
Yeah.
But I will be surprised if this is. Like, if all of a sudden everybody's, like, holding hands and singing Kumbaya. I think we're still going to see some tension there and some drama happening. We'll see.
Well, I'm going to hope.
Of course you are.
That it's going to work out to the best.
This is why we are good friends.
You will hear me, if you continue to watch this show often enough, you will hear me say that I think it's government's job to do the best amount of good for the most amount of people. And I'm continually hopeful that they will at least attempt that.
I am eternally suspicious.
Which is why we work well together.
Yeah.
We keep each other in check. So we've talked about a lot of things. You guys, someone said, I like the episode when you were so mad.
Everybody likes the episodes when we're mad. I was telling my husband that we did one where it was like Civics 101, and I swear to God, like 3 people watched it.
Right.
And then we did one where the title was "We're Gonna Burn This Mother Down," and like everybody was on it. Yeah,
because we were so upset about the whole debacle, with the announcement that Dover had met with Cherokee, and it wasn't like upset at Dover, like it was upset that this had come, all
the drama
to the dramatic end had come to this whole thing.
And I think that we'll get back to our normal angry selves.
Hey, somebody agrees with me about episode 9. Stephanie says maybe Nathan is onto something with episode 9.
I don't know. I don't know anything about Star Wars. I was gonna call it. What was I going to call it? Teamwork makes the dream work. Because I do want us to work together. I mean, I want us to work together. I'm just very skeptical of it. So I think that's kind of everything that's going on, though.
Yeah. Hey, please. We should have said this at the first. Share this video with your friends. Thank the River Valley Now for having us on here. If you're from our Facebook page and you decided to come over on River Valley Now and watch it, we appreciate that too.
If you've never heard of us, that's totally okay.
Are
and
these
you can go check it out.
hippie liberals talking about county politics? That's what we do. Yeah.
It is what we do.
I'm more hippie than she is. So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Again, I'm Nathan George, and this is Kristen Foster, and we are the Sass and the Beard. And we hope we'll be here every week at 7 o'clock on River Valley Now on Wednesday nights. And we hope to see you again next week. Thank you.